What's going on, guys, and welcome back to F1 2021 and My Team Career Mode for Round 17, the Mexican Grand Prix. We start this time with activities, and we have got G-Force training for our second driver, boosts up their focus and their, I believe their racecraft a little bit. We have a chassis upgrade come through, and we put another new one on the car. We also have an aerodynamic upgrade and a powertrain upgrade come through too, so nice little amount of upgrades to put on the car, and then we also put a new powertrain upgrade on as well. Now, going into this race weekend, we're going to have to put our fourth control electronics on the car and also our fourth ICE, internal combustion engine. Yeah, a little bit unfortunate there, but that's what we've got to do. And on R&D, we fall behind Alfa Romeo because we were ahead of them going into, well, last race weekend in the USA. We fall behind them, but we are still ahead of AlphaTauri. So on to Q1. It would be a rather wet Q1. The first half of the session would have to be run on wet tyres. However, towards the end of the session where I got my best run here, we were then on intermediate tyre conditions. This lap wasn't great. It wasn't my greatest lap ever, I'm not going to lie, but as you can probably tell here by me cutting it up, I did get through to Q2. But it still was not my best session. I was actually one of the first cars to go out on the intermediates here. So as you can see, purple first sector, and I'm going on for a good second sector here as well. Sorry, I just had to cough there. Got something stuck in my throat. Yeah, so really, I mean, when we're looking at time, I mean, I go quickest here, as you can see, right at top of the table there, but it's still not a particularly quick lap. Our teammate actually beats us. He gets P14. However, we still do manage to get through to Q2, P16, so it's the first time both me and my teammate have both got through to Q2. Big shocks there. Valtteri Bottas and Max Verstappen don't get out of Q1 because they didn't do another run. Their best run was on wet tyres, so Max Verstappen and Valtteri Bottas both out in Q1, so that's going to be interesting. On to Q2, this was a much better lap. Towards the end, the session started out with intermediate tyres, but towards the end, we were on soft tyres. And once again here, I'm like the first one to run on the soft tyres, so I will go quickest at the end of this run, but of course it won't be quickest altogether. But yeah, it was a decent run, this one. I guess the track wasn't great. I mean, you can still see a couple of little rain spots here and there on the screen, so the track wasn't completely dry, but you know, this would still be a decent enough lap, I think, for the conditions. I struggle a little bit with this S's section here. It's another S's section, not as much as I do on other tracks though, like, you know, USA and that previously. And then this final corner here, I'm actually quite quick through that final corner. Well, not final corner, but one of the final corners. I'm pretty quick through there. Just bearing in mind though, wherever we do finish, I've got a 15 place grid penalty for changing 2 component parts. So no matter what, we're going to be starting right at the back of the grid. We go quickest there, but after everybody else has done their runs, we end up in P16. So we have been out-qualified by our teammate again here. But we're going to be starting from the very back of the grid anyway, so let's see how the race turns out.
Here we go then. It's time to race in Mexico City, a place which gave Honda their first ever victory back in 1965. American Richie Ginther won from third on the grid. And what are the Honda-powered cars this year? Well, Red Bull have been going strong here in recent seasons, so can they keep that record going today? The Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, 2.6 miles of track that allows drivers to take full advantage of their cars, reaching speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, and providing lots of opportunities for overtaking. The circuit features 17 corners, 10 to the right, and the remaining 7 going to the left. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, with Daniel Ricciardo slotting in alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Leclerc, Fernando Alonso and Norris. They've taken a grid penalty. Raikkonen, Ocon, Giovinazzi and Yuki Tsunoda. Russell, Sainz, Sebastian Vettel and Mazepin, Stroll, Gasly, Valtteri Bottas and Mick Schumacher. Latifi, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Lundgaard, Verstappen, they've taken the grid penalty. And sure, which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
So, lots and lots of grid penalties here. The grid is completely all over the place, but we go to 5 red lights, and it's a little bit of a slow getaway for us. We don't get a great start, but like I said before, we're starting from the very back of the grid, so we can just kind of sit back here and potentially have a big dive into turn 1. Latifi is definitely the back of the pack here. Verstappen manages to get past him. He's going very defensive on the inside. We go for a dive around the outside, but there's nowhere else we can really go. With Verstappen and Schumacher blocking the road in front of us, it's 2 by 2 as far as the eye can see up ahead, and we're still around the outside with Latifi, just getting held up by Verstappen and Schumacher ahead. Speaking of those two, Verstappen manages to get past Schumacher, and now we are looking on the back of the Haas driver. We go to the inside, try and get our nose in a little bit over the curb. We're still side by side with him here though, as we get a little bit caught out with Verstappen ahead, but then we just try and put our foot down. Ooh, we're a little bit close there, a little bit awkward as Schumacher manages to get his car back up the inside, but he can't quite do it, and we've got the position on Mick Schumacher. And now we've got to chase down Max Verstappen. He's in a much quicker car, starting way down the back of the grid because he didn't go out on another set of tyres after doing the wet tyre run. He also did, I think, have a grid penalty anyway, so he would have been pretty far down. We give him a bit of a bump through there because I just wasn't expecting him to be so slow, and then another bump through the next corner, just completely getting caught out there. But as far as I know, no damage is done, and I mean, we didn't even get like a warning come up, so it's just a tiny little bump, nothing major going on there. As we then head onto lap 2, Verstappen is now looking to get past Mazepin, and he's going around the outside down the straight. We can see in front of us the two cars side by side. We've got a pretty decent gap back to Schumacher, so we're not under fire from him. As we come into this corner, braking a little bit early, just kind of, you know, don't want to get too close to them. That could compromise me massively. As Schumacher gets it a little bit wrong, trying to stay with Verstappen. We managed to get up the inside of, Mazepin, not Schumacher. It's weird having Mazepin in front of Schumacher, as we managed to just about get in there. He tries to dive up the inside, but he can't quite keep it, and we managed to get the position off Mazepin. Of the race start, here we look at Sergio Perez, of course the home favourite. He is the Mexican driver for the Mexican Grand Prix, the only one here. And he doesn't have a great start from 3rd, drops way back to like 5th at one point. However, he has a great second kind of bite at the cherry here as he battles with Daniel Ricciardo for 2nd place. And he manages to get the position from the Australian. The Mexican driver, Sergio Perez, at the Mexican Grand Prix is up into 2nd place. We do know though, in real life, Sergio Perez has not had the best luck at his home Grand Prix, so we'll see what happens with him there, but at the moment, definitely flying high. As we continue on here, onto lap 3, we now have DRS enabled, and we're just about keeping with Verstappen. He's now got my teammates in front of him, and now I think he's going to have a little bit of a look at my teammate, maybe not quite yet. My teammate's making sure he goes fairly defensive, but we're in a little bit of a DRS train here. There's not a whole lot that can be done, and yeah, we're just nothing can really be done here because there's just a massive train. We go for a dive on Verstappen though, because I think that everything's just going so slow here. We really need to start making moves, so I go for the dart and we end up on the outside. He's still there on the inside, but we managed to get the move on Verstappen. We've just overtaken Max Verstappen in a Red Bull. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. And just up ahead of us, our teammate is now right behind Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes. The championship, not even the championship leader, but the driver's champion for this season. He's already won it. He did it last time in the USA. So we're just going to keep going here. Daniel Ricciardo is out of the session. That's very unfortunate for him. He was all the way up in 3rd place, started 2nd on the grid, so disappointing stuff for him there. As we look ahead of us, Christian Lundgaard is actually going for an overtake on Valtteri Bottas as we get massively caught out, have to flick to the left there, and we get a little bit caught out and it's not too good. We then turn in on Max as I don't really quite realise that he is alongside me there, and yeah, that could have been a scary moment there. But as you can see, our teammate Christian Lundgaard has actually made the overtake work on Bottas. As we then carry on here, looking at my teammate now, he is there with Bottas. Bottas is now trying to get his position back, and they are too wide going through this final kind of chicane, twisty section. And this is crazy stuff. As we look on, we get a very good run through here and very nearly bump into the back of Bottas and into the side of our teammate, but now we've potentially got the better run. We've got the DRS. Bottas, I don't think, has DRS. I don't think oh no, Bottas does. My teammate doesn't. Then we're almost 3 wide there. However, Lundgaard has been kind of mugged off a little bit there, not having the DRS, as now he is side by side with Max. We are now side by side with Bottas. Both cars in my team. I'm fighting a Mercedes. My teammate's fighting a Red Bull. This is absolutely ridiculous. Like, never would I have expected this to happen for another couple of seasons, but it is happening as we're trying to stick with Bottas here. We get up the inside, we squeeze him out, and I think we've just about got the position on Valtteri Bottas fairly. However, that Mercedes is so much quicker. He tries to go around the outside of the next corner, but we're still gonna keep it going, you know. Usually I wouldn't even bother trying to fight a Mercedes or a Red Bull, but these guys are genuinely at the back of the pack here, and I think we've just got to fight them. I really do. I think it's just what we've got to do. However, it's going to be difficult because, I mean, Bottas especially, but even Verstappen as well, so much quicker than us as Bottas now goes for the outside. He's got the DRS on us, and there's just nothing we can do. We're deploying ERS and everything, but we cannot keep up at all. I think I accidentally leave ERS on here, as you can see. I've still got it on at this point. I didn't really quite realise, so that would have compromised me a little bit there. As we now watch on as Max Verstappen is going for the overtake now as well. Bottas has kind of gone off in the distance. Verstappen's looking at the overtake, but he doesn't quite get it done. He's just on the outside, but we managed to outbrake him into the corner. We keep the position on Verstappen, and he's going to have another bite at the cherry to try and get that position. Up ahead of us now here as well, we've got Valtteri Bottas trying to make his way through the field. He's now alongside Antonio Giovinazzi in the Alfa Romeo. He's got a lot of work to do here. I mean, we can see this big group of cars here. These guys are just getting so slowed down by cars like Giovinazzi, Russell just up ahead. Me as well, me and my teammate, nowhere near as quick as Bottas and Verstappen, as we end up going 3 wide, myself, Bottas and Giovinazzi down the front straight. Max Verstappen is wanting to get in on the action as well. My teammate's just kind of in the background watching on, as it's now once again 2 by 2 going into this corner. We're side by side with Bottas once again, trying to hang it around the outside. We get a good run through there. However, that probably means that he's going to have the better run on ours, but he can't do anything at that point in time. We are now going to be coming in for our pit stop on the next lap. Bottas and Verstappen, and I believe my teammate as well, have come in this lap. We end up just behind Lando Norris after he comes out of his pit stop in P6. And now we're coming in for our stop now onto a second set of soft tyres. So we're doing a 2-stop again. This time though, I didn't bother changing the order of how we're doing it. We're going soft to medium. So we'll see how that works out. Of course, in USA last time we went soft, medium, soft, but I didn't bother changing it for this one. We come out of the pits just behind Bottas and Verstappen, so actually they have got the undercut on us here, which is a little bit annoying, but they're going to get kind of caught out a bit from the cars in front. George Russell being one of those cars, as you can see, they've managed to get past him now, but we've now kind of caught back up to the 2 Hasses, who I don't think have come in yet. They're on possibly a 1-stop, and yeah, they're going to get caught behind them now, and we have George Russell in front of us. But as you can see, Russell has actually managed to catch up to Verstappen coming down the front straight here, and he's actually looking on the inside. George Russell in a Williams is looking to overtake Max Verstappen in a Red Bull. I mean, that's crazy. Unfortunately, even with DRS, he can't really do anything. Just that Honda-powered Red Bull just has a bit too much pace for the Mercedes-powered Williams, and he can't quite do anything at that time, and we're just kind of sat back here waiting as Antonio Giovinazzi is now out of the session with a retirement. That's unfortunate for him. He was doing okay, nothing spectacular, but yeah, that's unfortunately a DNF for the Italian Alfa Romeo driver, as we are once again just kind of stuck in a little bit of a DRS train with Verstappen, Russell, and Bottas, I believe, is just about in that train as well up ahead, and we really want to find a way past Russell. I mean, he's a slower car. we just want to find a way past. And sure enough, on the next lap, he has now got a massive gap to Verstappen ahead. He doesn't have DRS anymore, which means that we can quite easily sail past Russell. He actually tries having a look at the inside to see if he can outbrake us into the first corner, but we're way too far ahead for him to do anything about it. And we are up into P15 at that point, I think. We look up further up the road. Sergio Perez has a massive issue. He was up in 4th place. It had been overtaken by Leclerc and Alonso, but he was in 4th, and he's just spun on his own accord. Like I said before, he never seems to do very well at his home Grand Prix. He's now got a slightly broken front wing, so he's going to have to come in and pit to change that. So yeah, after running really well for once in the Mexican Grand Prix, Sergio Perez is now going to start tumbling down the order with an extra pit stop. Unless he changes his strategy, it's definitely going to hurt him though. He's gone from 4th to at least 5th there, and then the pit stop's going to make that even worse. As we carry on here, we are in P14, still on lap 20, running a little bit wide out of that corner, but we're in no man's land a little bit here. We've got a big gap behind us and a big gap in front. However, on this lap, a lot of the cars in front come in. We're back up to P6 again, but then we come in for our pit stop. We're probably going to get undertaken again by Bottas and Verstappen. I mean, they're ahead of us anyway, but they're going to probably be even further ahead. They're still getting fairly caught up in traffic though, so really not making their way through the order like they probably want to be. As we are now onto lap 26, and once again we're just trying to chase down the cars in front of Verstappen and Bottas, and that's difficult when they're so much quicker than us, but is being helped out by them getting stuck behind some slower cars. But yeah, there's really not, this part of the race was a little bit uninteresting, you know. We had quite a few laps of just running around by ourselves, trying to catch the cars up ahead, just not really a whole lot going on at this stage in the race. Just a few little clips here of just us trying to catch up really, and like I said, it's very difficult. Those cars are so much quicker than us. We actually now have Kimi Räikkönen behind us. He is on a 2-stop like us, but he's doing what we did last race, soft, medium, soft, or it might have even been medium, soft, soft, I'm not sure. And he's now caught right up to the back of us, and he's on soft tyres, which means he's going to get payback on us for what we did last time to him at Circuit of the Americas. He is going to come up behind us with the DRS, and he's going to go to the inside. He's going to overtake us for P14, and yeah, he's literally done pretty much the same thing we did to him in the last race. So a little bit unfortunate there, although he is very unlikely to be going for points, so it doesn't bother me too much. As we carry on here, we actually catch up to some cars up ahead, because Sergio Perez, he's come in for his pit stop after that crash, but he must have another issue because he is now dropping way down the order. Remember, he was in P4 before that crash. Now he's all the way down in P14, and he is definitely having some issues. I mean, you'll see in the bottom right there, we've got a little orange symbol because of mechanical problems. That's actually the gearbox. The gearbox is starting to wear out. I believe we do actually have to use it for one more race though, unless we want a grid penalty. So we're probably gonna, I haven't actually done the next race yet, so we'll see how that works out. But on this next lap, we have caught up to Sergio Perez, and I mean, just look at this. He doesn't have DRS or anything, but he is really struggling here. He's just so slow, not necessarily down the straights, but just in general, he's obviously got some kind of issue here. Whether he had some more damage from that spin, maybe, I mean, it wasn't a very big spin, a very big crash, only on the front, but he must have some more damage or something, because look at this, we're now like 4 and a bit seconds ahead of him as Lewis Hamilton wins the Mexican Grand Prix. It's another win for Hamilton. I mean, he's already lost the championship, but he wants to solidify that P2 for sure. Daniel Ricciardo not finishing will help him. I believe, though, Max Verstappen is actually 3rd in the championship, but he will not be scoring many, if any, points this race. As we come through, we get over the curb a little bit on that final corner there, but then we have a bit of an interesting message come up on the screen as the last corner comes around. Christian Lundgaard's out of the session. He's DNF'd. Perez has a 20-second penalty behind me. Something has happened on this final lap. They were just a few seconds behind me on track, but Lundgaard's DNF from the race, and Perez has got a 20-second penalty. So what the hell has happened at the end of this race. So let's watch on with Sergio Perez. He's coming through that same section that he made the mistake on that last lap a few laps ago, and he's done the exact same thing that he did earlier. He spun it around. This time he's managed to not hit the wall, but he's doing a 3-point turn in the middle of the track. Christian Lundgaard comes along. He just stops in the middle of the track. Lundgaard smacks into him, and yeah, that's a DNF for Lundgaard. We watch on from Perez's onboard. He just, once again, it's exactly the same as he did last time, getting caught up on that curb. Manages to keep it out of the wall this time, but then does like a 3-point turn in the middle of the track, goes to go forward, and then he's like, oh shit, there's a car coming, I'm just going to stop in the middle of the track. Lundgaard comes through, smacks right into the side of him. We'll watch on from Lundgaard's point of view here. He maybe should have been a bit more careful, but you do not expect a car to be right there. Puts him into the wall, breaks his wheel. He's literally like 4-5 corners away from the end of the race, from the finish line. And he's DNF'd. It's actually Lundgaard's first DNF, but it's a big, big hit there. Crazy stuff from Perez. Really don't know what he's doing.
That's a spectacular victory then, and with it, the championship is secure. It's been a magnificent season, and they thoroughly deserve the cheers of the crowd here today. And talk to me. What do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes.
So Lewis Hamilton wins the Mexican Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc in second place there. Very, very good from him, considering that Ferrari is actually like only the 6th quickest car, and he's come home in second. Fernando Alonso, it's his third podium, his third place finish of the season. I expected a little bit more now. I'm not as surprised because I'm pretty sure Alpine are like the 4th quickest car now, so he's still punching above his weight a bit there, but with Max and Valtteri way down the order, you can understand how that would happen. Lundgaard still manages 16th because everybody behind him, George Russell and the rest, had all been lapped. So he still manages 16th place, but yeah, crazy stuff from Perez there. I don't know what he was doing. He had such a great start to the race, and then just an absolutely terrible end in particular Mexican Grand Prix fashion for him. But yeah, there's no real changes everywhere else with the constructors and everything. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.